Hello, back again. Yeah, if you were watching that other video, or actually, right now it's Monday, October 14th at about 10 to 7. Happy Thanksgiving. I guess you guys are all with your families and stuff like that, giving thanks for many things that you've got. That's sort of like what this is going to be. We have to give thanks for being the martyrs of the neighborhood. Courtesy of Shamir Mehta. So we're going to call ourselves the Marshall Street Martyrs, brought to you by Shamir Mehta, Shane Turner, City of Waterloo, Region Waterloo, Province of Ontario. They brought us here, notwithstanding. Anyway, how do we start this? Well, you know, it's really interesting because this is one about the election. I need to let people know this is Mr. Trudeau. This is the update to our last video when I challenged you to meet me in the boxing ring so we could, for charity, so we could raise awareness of disability and abuse in Canada. And we didn't get in the boxing ring, but you certainly have made awareness of disability abuse in Canada, because I'm about to show exactly what your Canada looks like. Okay? You left me no choice. I am notwithstanding. As I said, they pulled this off again. It's a criminal system. They shut us out from due process and everything else, and I am not. They've done this for the second time. And I'm about to show you what happened the last time when they set us to the four courses of the wind. Anyway, yeah, so how do we start this? Well, I figured, yeah, let's go with what they tell us the story is, okay? So it just so happens that we got this re-elect Bardish Chager as your Member of Parliament brochure. So let's start with that, shall we? Okay. Oh, actually, sorry. Before I start, you want to go and look at first contact and the fire inspection. That's actually got our last contact with Shamir Mehta as well. Whenever you look at these videos, you want to go down into the comment section or the story part section, because there's links to the actual evidence, and in particular the one for first contact. They came at us aggressively, and we put the video first, and you can see how they showed up with 3 police officers and a whole bunch of other people. Very intimidating. And the only time they show up with police officers is when you are being reluctant to allow them in your home. That's when they come in and they say, I'd like to do an inspection, and you say no. And then they have to come back with the police. That did not happen in our case. We were obviously a threat to them, though. That's because of the letter dated May 13th. They must have had a really good laugh. Based on what we know now, when they received that letter, now I gave that letter to the landlord May 14th, I think it was, because it took me a day to write it as a person with a disability. And we gave him until, I think it was the 26th is when we sent it to the city, and it details all the stuff. Go ahead and look at that. That's in the evidence on one of the pages. There's a link to it there. Anyway, it turns out that they gave him he applied on January 31st. He was granted the licenses on all 4 properties February 11th. And again, you have to ask yourself, why wouldn't they have just came forward and said they had a license? And not only that, the license is required under the bylaw to be hanging in a prominent area of the home with a floor plan. So again, but you know, we contacted them, and I'm asking them, well, what's this deal about? Are we supposed to pay rent or not? And they wouldn't tell us whether he even had a license. He promised us a fence in the backyard for myself and Tom, and the boys next door at 100B. And he said he was putting it off because he had to repave the driveway at the apartment building and stuff, and he was going to do it in the spring, and he didn't. And we kept on waiting, and finally he decided he's not going to do it. Anyway, he all of a sudden got confidence, like, well, go to the city, like he planned it. And we have to ask ourselves, maybe they did do that, because in reviewing the information, we found out on the application, he actually put an application for an A4 bedroom, which this is, as a residence. But he also paid for a D2 license, which is for a place like Atlas Property Management manages, where they rent out all the rooms as a rooming house. So he paid for that as well. That's in the application as well, where it shows what he paid. There's a $100 fee, and it's incomplete because I guess they're waiting for us to get kicked out of here. But it's very striking, very interesting, because again, it looks like all of a sudden, out of nowhere, he was very confident and just changed his mind all of a sudden and said, yeah, whatever. But again, so we started our situation in May. If he was licensed in February, why didn't they come forward and just say that and clarify it? We started in May, and what it is they got that letter from me, and because they had already licensed, and I had written it up with pictures to show what the problems were here, they couldn't deny it. And the problem is that they don't ever do actual inspections, not even the fire inspection. Because there's no other explanation for why 98B turned out the way it did. There was no fire inspection there, especially if they just gave them a license February 11th. Okay, so that's a question. But again, so why all this fooling around? Plus, when I got the Municipal Freedom of Information and Privacy and Protection Act release, which is MFIPA, the documents were missing. There was no fire inspections. The only fire inspection that was included in that MFIPA release was the one that was performed here May 30th of this year. So again, and if you listen to the phone call that I had with Laura, which is on I believe it's on the same one as First Contact. Yeah, actually, it's at the end of after the video is 3 audio files. The first one is me talking to Henry, who's from the municipal enforcement, and he's trained the same as everybody else. That phone call went perfectly fine. Matter of fact, I think I commented it was one of the best experiences I had dealing with the city. He referred me to Laura at the fire department. The middle message is me leaving a message for her, and then the last part is the conversation we actually had. And Laura mentions in there because I asked her about freedom of information. Excuse me, sorry. And she mentioned that, well, I had already talked to Julie Scott at the city, and she's the one who does freedom of information, so anything that the fire department had to say would be brought through that. So again, MFIPA release, there was nothing in there for fire anywhere. And you can look at the applications because they're right there. I posted them as well in the one where it says fraudulent applications. And again, no person is allowed to give a false statement or something like that, whatever the rule says there in the tape. But Shane Turner is a person. Shamir Maida is a person. Allison Hensall is a person. The Corporation of the City of Waterloo is a person. The Region of Waterloo is a person under that act. So again, no person shall file false information for knowingly falsely filed applications. Just in the way that they present them, because again, you're required to have a accurate floor plan for the time you make the application, the same as you would in a motel. It's an occupant because it's a certificate of compliance. A residential rental license is a certificate of compliance which says if it's there, they are in compliance. They are not. It's obvious they're not. We have an outstanding order of 90 days now, and they keep saying that I'm the problem. And if you listen to Shane Turner in the last contact, which again the audio file is posted in the comment or in the description section of the First Contact video. So it also has our last contact. Denise went around trying to get the order enforced, and she was told, well, go down to Duke Street, 30 Duke Street, which is what do they call that? The Royal Bank. It used to be the Royal Bank building on Duke and Ontario. So she goes in there, and they said, no, wrong place. You got to go down the street to municipal enforcement, which is in the parking garage just across the street on Ontario Street. So she goes in there, and they're going, no, this is Waterloo. So she ended up, I had told her, well, if it's Regional Municipality Waterloo, the Regional Municipality Administration Building is right beside the police station. So that's where she went next. And that's the one where she's talking to Tom. And we posted that one as well. And if you listen to again, like Mitch, the one with Mitch Brown, the building inspector, if you listen to that phone call, that's how it's supposed to happen. We make a report, he says, fine, I'll come over and check it out. Problem that happened with that is somebody got in the way and stopped him from doing it because they're very afraid of having a building inspector come here for some reason. I wonder why. And guess who that person was? Shane Turner, probably. Okay, he's the director of the division, municipal enforcement. Okay. Either way, the city of Waterloo is acting improperly. So that's the way that it's supposed to work out. If you listen to, sorry, I forget where I was going with that now. I'm really tired. This has been a strain, PTSD, and we've been abiding with it. Like, we can't escape it. And now we've been held hostage. They've taken away our private enjoyment. Sorry about that. Also, yeah, I got a disability, so I watched the other video where it's squeaking a lot. That's because I've actually this is a wand that I've got this camera on, and I usually set it on my leg, and my leg spasms. So every time it spasms, that's what the squeak is. And I didn't realize it until after I posted it, so I apologize for that. But anyway, what was I saying again? I forget now, sorry. Anyway, I gotta, okay, anyway, I forget what. Oh, right, Julie. When you're talking to Julie, so Julie at Fire, she, another pleasant conversation, but she also says that, Phil Teskey is the only guy who does the fire inspections. He's only been here a couple of years, though. Anyway, let's get back to this. I'm going to try and get back on track here. Okay, so I don't want this going too long either. 12 minutes already. Anyway, so let's see what they have to say. Re-elect Bartis Chager. I'm going to read this. Hopefully you can see it well enough in the camera. So this is the pamphlet that she sends. Dear friends, over the past 4 years with Justin Trudeau, the Liberal government has delivered positive results for Canada and for Waterloo. I am proud of our record. More Canadians are better off today than they were 4 years ago. When I was elected in October of 2015, I committed to be a strong voice for you. I knew back then Canada could be better. My actions are guided by the recognition that Canada must be a just society of equity, inclusiveness, and respect for all. I continue to be inspired by the goodness of people in our community, and that's why I believe Canada needs more Waterloo. Canadians are confronted with many issues: climate change, reconciliation, and affordability, to name a few. To address these other challenges, we must continue to recognize the interconnections between the economy, education, health, social well-being, the environment, and all levels of government. During my tenure as Government House Leader, I gained a greater appreciation for how the House Commons works. Although we were unable to achieve cross-party consensus to replace the first-past-the-post system, we did strengthen our democratic institutions. We restored the voting rights of Canadians living at home and abroad while also making the Senate less partisan and more independent. And just for note, we went to vote today, and we were going to defer our vote and have them write notwithstanding on it the same way as you can with the provincial election. And guess what they told us? They said they just changed the rules where you're not allowed to do that for a federal election, so you can't have a protest vote for a federal election. So much for freedom of speech, eh? And democracy? They're very afraid, though. It's time to treat them notwithstanding, just like us. Anyway, one of the first things one other thing. I like the way she says that, first of all, my life's not better off than it was 4 years ago, and you're about to find out why. Okay? Second of all, actions are guided by recognition that Canada must be a society of equity, inclusiveness, and respect for all. So where's the disability respect? every time we tried to contact Bardish Chager or any other representative, they always go, it's a legal issue. Well, yeah, we can't get, so it's a legal issue and you got to go find a lawyer to go represent you, which there's none of. None will do it, especially with this kind of content. Direct evidence of wrongdoing. But hey, so does this look like they're treating us with equity and inclusiveness? They dismissed our right to due process. They interfered with our tenancy. They're assisting an improperly and unlawfully operating landlord to avoid his proper comeuppance and fines and that, which they're not allowed to do. Also, and again, like I said, today it's 90 days overdue, $500 minimum fine, and it says that these things are stackable and consecutive, which means that if you're charged under one, you are charged under the other. And there is no limit. So again, City of Waterloo, is that equity? Is that inclusiveness? Is that respect for all? Do they do anything? Bardish Chager, how about this? Why don't you introduce us to your disability coordinator for your office? How about for the whole government? I mean, it's really good you put people like Carla Qualtrough in disabled people in positions of power to handle disabled people. Now we're just, the only thing that's doing is letting us be abused by disabled people. And I believe, and I don't mean this in a facetious way, but I believe that her disability is she's not, she's blind or something. But the problem that I have is the willful blindness as an MP and as a member of Parliament that is sworn to the Crown and to protect the Crown, because that's what this is all about. One of the first things our government did when elected was to cut taxes for 9 million middle-class Canadians by asking the wealthiest 1% to give a bit more. Today, with the new Canada Child Benefit, 300,000 Canadian children no longer go to bed hungry. When we took our office 4 years ago, there were 143 long-term drinking water advisories on reserves. Over 60% have now been lifted, and we are on target for resolving the remainder by March 2021. Are you allowed to lie on these things? We have made progress, yet we have more work to do. In this election, Canadians have an important choice to make. We will put at risk the progress we've made, or will we continue to move forward? I believe together we can do even better. I want to keep working hard for you. I'm asking you to choose forward by supporting me again to represent Waterloo's interests as your member of Parliament. Bardish Chager. Honorable Bardish Chager. You see, there's that word again. They get to put honorable in front of their name even when they're not. Anyway, that's her face. And it's funny because when they were doing First Past the Post, I met with her. Actually, Denise and I met with her and Rad Saini, who was our representative at that time, and they promised on video to go ahead and help us. And guess what? No. That's like the NDP person for this area showed up on our porch the other day, and NDP, that's for worker and low income and stuff like that. And we started telling her about what was going on with us, and they actually told us they didn't have time. And they didn't, they weren't going to come back. So, no, I didn't let her put a sign on my lawn, but I got one myself now. Anyway, yeah, sorry, I'm taking a little bit too long with this. That's because this is the most difficult video I've ever made, because it's going to end with the video of them assaulting me. What happened in 2015, the last time they did this, when we went to landlord-tenant. Actually, it started with the landlord, and we tried going through landlord-tenant back then, and there was nothing but roadblocks again. So we weren't getting anywhere, and I had gotten an insurance settlement, so I used some of that money to hire a lawyer, Michael Ferguson, on Frederick Street. And he was on the job for few months, I think it was 2 months, where he was supposed to be handling the accessibility to the landlord-tenant board, making sure we had what we needed for our disability, and to be able to move our case forward, and also present the case for us and prepare the case. And he was retained. I gave him a cash retainer. I think it was $250 cash, and he ended up being on. He had, I don't know what he did, but anyway, we ended up finally getting together, because we kept on saying, what's going on, what's going on? And he kept on putting off, like he'd make an appointment, then he'd change it. And he'd make an appointment, then he'd change it. So we finally got together and he started, questioning us like we assumed like it was like we'd be on the stand. And he was really being belligerent and stuff like that. And then we found out that no. That was kind of put off. And I'm like, what? And then we ended up going home. And anyway, we started talking about it. And I asked him what he had gotten prepared when he was done doing the questioning thing. I said, well, so what's ready for going to this tribunal? And he said he didn't have anything ready yet. And I was like, excuse me? And we were ready to go to the tribunal. So after, and then after the way we were treated, and he was saying, well, blah, 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 I'll get this ready or whatever. I'm going to make calls or whatever the hell it was. The only time I didn't do a taping of the meetings, big mistake. Anyway, so I ended up calling him up and I said, you're not representing us. You're fired. I fired him on the spot the next day. We ended up trying to get through landlord-tenant as a person with a disability or anybody, and trying to get through to Human Rights Tribunal of Ontario to go, is there somebody who can help us with this? Nothing. It's exactly the same thing. Deny, deflect, obstruct, vilify, victimize, then criminalize. All with lies. Anyway, so we ended up going to the hearing, and he was there, and he paid me back my retainer. I had a receipt from him too, so I got the receipt to show that he was retained. We ended up going in the tribunal, and exactly the same thing happened. They did not have any accommodation, so we ended up, and we weren't safe, so we got him. We walked out. We told him he'd better do it again. Anyway, we found out later, a few weeks later, they sent us a notice saying that actually they went ahead with it, and Mr. Ferguson appeared on our behalf. Or they took testimony from him, because there was transcript included with it where it showed what he said, where he said that he was not retained. And he was under oath. And he said he was not retained, and of course I had a receipt there. Anyway, long and short of it, we ended up getting evicted then too. They broke our lease, which was a contract, and we did some work there for them, which was supposed to be in lieu of rent and stuff like that. And they didn't look at anything to do with, again, it's a 9/11. Landlord wants you out, you didn't pay rent, even if he owes you rent or whatever, so therefore, get out. And I ended up having to move, and we did it ourselves. And as a disabled person, I didn't have much help with moving, so it took us 2 or 3 days or 4 days to get everything packed up and moved. I fell down the stairs, had a lot of other problems. It was in the middle of winter, February or something like that. So we ended up being homeless. Denise ended up going to shelters and whatever, or to her daughters first, I think it was. Her daughters first, and then ended up in shelters, something like that. But anyway, it was very upsetting and everything. But here I am. We're going like, while we're waiting, we're going, hey, let's go down to the courthouse, see a JP, because all I got to do is show a JP that this guy lied and should be able to stop this, right? No. Every time you go anywhere, it's stopgap measure. Deny, deflect, obstruct, vilify, victimize, and criminalize. I've got recordings of those ones, though, again, too. No help from anybody, no direction. They say, oh, we're giving legal advice. No, we're asking for what is the procedure. Anyway, it doesn't matter. It's a brick wall. It's another stopgap measure. It's a wedge issue that they soak both sides of it. So anyway, sorry about that. But this is where we're at, and I just want to let you know. Okay, I got to repeat a little bit of information here, and I got to do the video last because it's very traumatic for me to see it, and the fact that again they did not change venues. They made me watch it in court when I was unprotected by a lawyer. They removed my lawyer after 9 months, and they told me they didn't know I was disabled. Again, I said to the judge, I'm sorry, but the Crown knew I was disabled because of other situations. The Crown was aware because they were made aware during my social benefits tribunal and stuff. Not to mention the fact that, as I said, I said to the judge, "I'm sorry, Your Honor, this is a disability court, and I don't understand because I've been fully disabled, permanently disabled since 2004. Filed my income tax with federal and provincial income tax. I was made to undergo, and this is province of Ontario, right? Region of Waterloo, both of which have had the reigns of disability at one time or another. I was made because I'm on WSIB claim, but from being injured at work because they left me in a lunchroom for an hour and a half unconscious and brain injury, and I still haven't got any treatment yet at all except for mistreatment. She's an ugly person, mistreatment. Anyway, yeah, it's just fun and games, and that was for an employer that was operating 5 years without a health and safety policy, doubling his accident rate every year before my accident. And again, doubling his accident rate every year, and that was only from reported accidents, and he was using temporary services as well. 2 companies sharing it. They were both side by side, owned by the same people. A lot of shady stuff going on there, but even still, for the ones that were reported, a labor board investigator went in. An investigator on behalf of the employee from WSIB went in. They probably charged him lots of money for courses and stuff like that, but never ever corrected the situation. Meanwhile, it's illegal to open your doors without one. It took until 2005. My accident was 2004. As Dora went from Health and Safety or whatever, or WSIB went in there and helped them write one in 2005. It's part of the record. And again, this is another tribunal that I've been shut out of because of the content of what we are talking about and the evidence. And again, how many times does a doctor have to write down, "I've been harmed"? And again, why wasn't it reported right away? Anyway, lots of questions. Well, the whole reason why is because it's all Law Society of Upper Canada. It's the Crown. Wet law for everything is to protect the Crown. And don't get me wrong, there are good lawyers, good people that are lawyers, that are doctors, that are working in these professions, that are police officers. I've worked with some of these police officers in security when I was doing Oktoberfest. Well, not these officers because they're probably younger, but with the force. And I'm going to read something that I sent to Bryan Larkin to show the communications when we were trying to get accessibility requests and LEASE instead of this aggressive Gestapo tactics of multiple officers in riot gear again. Because again, let me remind you, you're going to see at the end of this, I was assaulted by multiple officers from Waterloo Regional Police. And there's a lot more going on to this than meets the eye, because again, I said, you know what, this is where I stand. On October 25th at 8:30 in the morning, they're going to come here with the sheriff to evict us. And I am not going to give up vacant possession. I'll be the one holding the baseball bat, and they can be the ones to shoot me, because it ends here. I am not going on from here. And matter of fact, Vegas, I would like you to start taking odds. Are we going to be the martyrs of Marshall Street? Am I going to get shot and killed? Or are we going to be saved? Are we going to save our home? Because that's your odds. Because guess what? The odds of all this stuff happening to 2 people, myself and Denise, you wouldn't take the odds on all that, because like I said, as many of these things that have happened to happen to the same individuals is billions to 1. So that only means one thing, and you're about to see why. This is targeted. This is deliberate, especially when it came to what happened here. They used my disability against me. They've been using my disability against me since I raised the issues about the worker, the employer. But especially now. Anyway, you don't believe me? Stick around. Okay, first thing, I'm going to reveal some stuff about myself. And I will be posting this in a package online. What this is here, December 1st, 2005, is Hamilton Health Sciences. Dr. Flor M. Rodriguez was the person who was overseeing my case. Regarding Christopher Bacon, the blacked out part is my birthday, because I'm not going to put that information out there so somebody can steal my identity. This was written December 1st, 2005. Dear Dr. Muniz Rodriguez, I spoke to Mr. Bacon on November 11th, 2005 with regards to the report of his ECD brain perfusion study. I went to Hamilton Health Sciences at the traumatic brain injury clinic and had an assessment. This was a year and a half after my accident when they said, oh, it's just a bump on the head. And I had already come from Toronto rehab where they lied about what was going on. Anyway, and this is proof too. Again, if you see what's going on with the case, and everything's appealed. So I got it, my appeals are ready for WSIB, but I've never been able to go there and do it because nobody will write it down. Although they are saved and they are not expired. So again, it's always about keeping you from telling the truth or having the truth told. So anyway. Brain perfusion study. So as you are aware, this 42-year-old male, back then, patient was struck on the head June 21st, 2004 and has persistent post-concussive symptoms. CT and MR have been negative. The SPECT study did indicate the presence of mild focal reduction in activity, which was small and located at the right parietal zone of the cerebral cortex. So again, CT and MR, usually with a closed head injury, will be negative, which is why with a minor traumatic brain injury, I did some research through the Helsinki Institute, which is the premier place for brain injuries. Closed head injuries, minor traumatic brain injuries, are only detectable through PET or SPECT test. CT and MRI don't do much of anything unless it's a severe head injury or a bleed out. Anyway, so I was told. I am writing to you at this time to confirm that this type of abnormality would not be an indicator of anxiety or depression, because I kept on trying to say that that's what is driving me, is my anxiety and depression. And it's not. The anxiety and depression is from what they're doing to me. Focal abnormalities such as this may be seen in the case of brain injury or possibly as a result of seizure focus. Seizure foci normally demonstrate hyperperfusion in the interictal phase. I trust this information is of use to you. So in other words, he's saying, because again, when we went for the results, the doctor's going, oh, well, it's nothing. I don't know. So we ended up going right away. Right away, I ended up going to the Hamilton Health Sciences, and we asked, I called this doctor. And she was confused. She's going, why would she tell you that? I'm going, I don't know. But anyway, I said, she says, is there anything I can do for you? I said, yes. Can you do me a favor and put it in writing? And send her a letter and send me a copy, which is exactly what she did. This is what she did. So what she's doing is, based on the test, she says CT and MRI have been negative because that's usual. The SPECT study did indicate presence of mild focal reduction in activity, which is small and located at the right parietal zone of cerebral cortex. That means that's indicative. A year and 7 months post-injury, or 9 months? When you're not supposed to be able to tell anything after 3 months, which is exactly the time that they waited for me to go see anybody at Toronto rehab. Anyway, then it says, she went on to say, focal... So again, she was trying to blame it on the Muniz Rodriguez was trying to blame stuff on my, like something about anxiety and depression, which is why she clarified that it's not that. Then, in looking at it, focal abnormalities such as this may be seen in case of brain injury or possibly as a result of seizure focus. Okay, so that's the two possibilities. Then she goes on to say seizure foci normally demonstrates hyperperfusion in the interictal phase, which it did not, which is why it was a brain injury, and there's other documentation to show that. But I trust this information is of use to you. Yours sincerely, Karen Y. Galenchin, Chief of Nuclear Medicine, Hamilton Health Sciences. So is there anybody else who knows more about it than her? But they say, but the WSIB goes, oh, I don't think that works. We're just going to dismiss that. And that's what they do, just like they dismissed this situation. The government dismisses the situation with all the illegality going on and unlawfulness of this landlord. Okay? What you're looking at here, this is all based on what happened to me and what you're going to see at the end of this. for the trial that happened in 2015. May 1st, I was asked to come down and see somebody at the courthouse because I was trying to get some help, and we were talking to somebody who identified themselves as a disability coordinator. Yeah, come down to the courthouse. I made the mistake going down there once without Denise. And you're going to see what happened. And that was the last time because, again, we were trying to get some help to see a JP, just to get something put together to see a JP and get this done. Anyway, look at where it gets us, eh? They sure did make a lot of money off it. So June 20, that was May 1st I was charged. June 25th, this is in relation to, okay, so we had asked for, it happened at the new courthouse. And there was video surveillance at the police station. There was video surveillance at Grand River Hospital, and at Maplehurst Detention Center. Because I was supposed to be let go from the hospital, and the judge even said so. And then for some reason I ended up in Maplehurst. And anyway, you watch the other video, and I'll tell you what happened with that. Anyway, so it's regarding that case, court date June 30th, 2015, 104. In response to your additional disclosure request, a copy of the courthouse security surveillance video is available for pickup. There is no audio in this video. Further, there is no surveillance video available from Grand River Hospital. Armin Sethi, Assistant Crown Attorney. Now, why would there not be any from, because again, that's the detainment ward. Because it kept me on a 72-hour hold, they're required to have it, and yes, they do have it. Anyway, we'll find out what happened. This one here is notes. You see, my daughter, Ashley, see, my family believes that there's a mental health issue, and I perfectly agree. You see, I had a health issue, and they went mental. My family has had basically nothing to do with me since the accident, 2004, which is over 11 years by the time this happened. I barely saw my daughter, and it was estranged. I went ahead and preserved the relationship with their mother, and then they destroyed mine. But that's another question. I don't want to sound like I'm blaming everybody, because I'm not. Anyway. Apparently, Ashley was like a spy for them. It was based on concern, but what I'm showing here is that she left notes, and if you notice at the top, Bacon Chris file dropped off Ashley Bacon 5/19/15, which is 19th of May 2015. So she was keeping notes, and she dropped it off to the Crown or somebody. Anyway. So she's keeping tabs on it. But the thing I wanted to point out is this. I had always said that when I first came out, Mr. Gale had me sign this document that said that I would not have to show up because they were trying to keep me out of it. And there was question whether or not I was telling the truth. So here is confirmation. It looks like 7/5/15, which is the date I was released. Which is, if it happened the 1st, that's 6 days before I even saw my lawyer, because I only saw him in the basement there. So put in Bacon file. Obviously that's officer. Now I cut off the rest because there's privacy concerns. Face-to-face, outside courtroom, courthouse, Dad, me, Denise. Okay, so after leaving courtroom 103, Mr. Gale advised us, Dad, Denise, me, to wait until he returned with a form for Dad to sign before we leave. We ate lunch. Mr. Gale met us in the cafeteria. Dad signed the form to give Mr. Gale permission to represent Dad at court so we don't have to go to every date. Mr. Gale walked away. So there is proof from another source of what I said. They were trying to make it, again, they frame me as mental something or other. I have never been diagnosed with anything other than PTSD, and most of that was because of the way they've been treating me over the years, 15 years, since 2004. So this is the Ontario Court of Justice. This is the actual document, the last page of the document, because it was a multiple page document. And immediately when I got home, because he was supposed to give me a copy, he says he was going to photocopy and send me a copy of the whole document, and he didn't. I only got this in the release. That's Mr. Gale. And if you notice, it says cause disturbance and assault police, 7th of May 2015.
So that's the designation they had me sign. And he was appointed. I did not pick him. He was appointed. This is what started it all. And this is why it's very dangerous for these family members to pretend that they're being helpful. Lee Fitzpatrick I've known for a long time. My sister knew him as well. Good guy. Too bad he's still not practicing, because he was definitely a man of character and substance, and that's probably why he quit, because he couldn't handle the profession anymore. The profession is ugly. Anyway, good man. So, of course, my sister Carol Bacon, 3rd of May, 2015 at 10:15 p.m. And that's my daughter's email. Obviously, got Lee Fitzpatrick to send a card or something to, or whatever, but here it says, Your Honor, we, the family members of Christopher John Bacon, have concerns as to his emotional and mental well-being. Christopher John Bacon suffers from post-traumatic stress syndrome and other mental health issues. We are concerned that he is incapable of making rational choices at this time, and for his personal safety, we appeal to the court to issue a treatment order on his behalf. Carol Bacon, sister to C. Bacon, Ashley Bacon, daughter to C. Bacon. So Ashley saw me coming out of the ambulance when I was traumatized after just almost being murdered on the doorstep. I had never been diagnosed with any kind of mental health disorder whatsoever, and PTSD is not a mental health disorder. It is not considered a mental health disorder at all. It is a physical reaction to stress. And anxiety and stuff caused by repeated attacks on a person with PTSD has effect on mental well-being. But PTSD itself, when treated properly and not mistreated deliberately, is not a mental health disorder. Never has been. Again, after 11 years of not having any contact with me, their opinion doesn't mean a damn thing. Mental health issues, they're the ones with the mental health issue because they are cognitively dissonant to anything other than themselves. So, again, with evidence. And I've had more damage done by these people who said that they care when they've done nothing. They have been no part of my disability. They sit in judgment and they interfere. And that's why they're not part of my life anymore. They're too toxic. I don't know what their problem is, but I cannot abide by it anymore. This is an email to Stephen Gale, Sunday, August 23rd, from me. Info on police occurrence and request for videos. Stephen, attached is a copy of the notes taken regarding the incident as described at our meeting yesterday. I would also like to tell you that, in my opinion, regarding their more than obvious reluctance to provide the videos, audio files as requested, give them 1 week to cooperate, then bring a motion before the court to specify material requested, i.e. courthouse video without obstructions, from the proper camera angles, from in front of the physical partition barrier and from outside, and especially the police station video, and of course the video audio connected to the 72-hour hold, whether connected to Grand River Hospital and the holding facility in Halton Hills, and ask the judge to sign a court order to produce the specified evidence as requested. This must be done ASAP and before they can stay the charges or drop them. I must say that I feel re-traumatized after seeing the video you did get, as it was far more disturbing than I had assumed. Again, I also reiterate my request for assistance in initiating the appropriate actions with regard to the complaints process and in pursuing criminal charges against those responsible. This case is about denied, deflect, and obstruction tactics that are clearly the driving force behind the systemic and deliberate victimization and criminalization of those who refuse to bend to their criminal will or dare to disregard or speak out or to fight, dare to disagree or to speak out or to fight back. I went looking for help and they almost made me pay with my life because they are acting improperly and refusing their duty under law. There must be accountability. This is the final test of their legal system. If this court fails, then I only have the court of public opinion left, and I will tell my story to the world in their words. It's recorded. Thanks, CJB. P.S. I need a copy of any and all video audio evidence to use my email to remind me of the court appearance, please, as discussed. Thank you. Thanks, CJB. Now, the reason why I read that is because I need to read the response. Very informative. Because, again, I was sitting here trying to seek help with police services complaint on behalf of myself and the officers for not being trained properly. I was also looking for other things. But anyway, this is the response he gave me. Stephen Gale, Wednesday, August 26, 2015. Regarding info on police occurrence and request for videos. I reviewed your email. There is no motion. This is important. There is no motion I can bring in a criminal court to compel anyone, including the police, to preserve anything in Canada. Free society, not a police state. That's what you think. I believe there may be some kind of preservation order you can get in, and again, I'm a disabled person seeking representation in a criminal matter with regard to the issues surrounding that criminal matter. Okay? So he can't do anything in the criminal court to compel anybody, including the police, preserve anything. I believe there may be some kind of preservation order you can get in a civil proceeding, but I'm not sure. You would need to consult a lawyer who knows civil procedure to assist you with how to draft such a motion, that what court it goes into, what you need to demonstrate in order to get such an order. I have sent faxes to Maplehurst and Grand River demanding they preserve any video they have from the day of your arrest for 3 days. Preserve it for 3 days. Right? But here again, there's nothing to help. So again, it's a legal issue, right, Bardish? As long as you keep it a legal issue, you can't hire a lawyer. You don't own a house. Well, then it never gets to court. And even when you do hire a lawyer, it rarely gets to court because they settle out of court, and that's how they don't do precedent. Because then they can turn around and do it all again. Just like the tribunals. You know why everybody's doing it again in tribunals? Because there is no precedent in tribunal. There's no law in tribunal. They make it up as they go along. It's called notwithstanding. I've been in touch with the Crown. I told her you did not want the charges against you dropped until you had access to all the videos. She told me she has no intention of dropping these charges and is in touch with the police and told them the video they produced is incomplete and she wanted all videos, including any video they have in the police station or from the hospital. So that's the Crown attorney asked for it. Okay. Also, criminal court has no jurisdiction to grant you any remedy against the police, hospital, or anyone else in appearance or hearing into the charges against you. So they could beat you, assault you, and everything else, and there's another layer you have to go through. And as a person with a disability who can't write it down, who has to re-traumatize himself, having to relive it every time, telling somebody how you did it, like I said, oh, Canada. You're about to get an education if you stick around. I'm sorry, it's really difficult, so I'm trying the best I can. If you seek prosecution for the criminal assault upon you by police, you would have to charge the officer who assaulted you. I can provide you his name if you want it. I cannot lay charges for you, but if you wish, I can review any statement you wish to present to a JP to lay charges. So he can't prepare it for me either. If you want damages money for the damages the police, hospital, or jail caused you, you need to consult a civil lawyer to assist or advise you. Again, not available. I have talked to the building custodians, not the police, about external cameras, and they said they don't think there are any. That's funny. You go outside, you can see there's 9 or 12 of them right around that L. What, the L? Anyway, this inquiry did not go through the Crown or police, which it should have. I have demanded from the Crown that the Crown have those in charge of the building to produce the existence and place of any... I have demanded from the Crown that the Crown have those in charge of the building to produce the existence and place of any external cameras, which as far as I know was not ever produced. I will keep you advised of any and all responses or developments as they occur. And then it has a copy of my original message, which is what I just read to you. Okay. But the point is this. So legal aid, they're supposedly to protect my rights. And what rights? They can't do anything to preserve evidence. This is not the state's people. This is the Crown. Sorry, I'm going to do this as quickly as possible. This is a letter, again, which is interesting because I had contacted the hospital trying to get the records myself in order to try and get somebody to look at it. And this came, I only discovered this today when I was going through the file looking for what to post up here. But it's interesting. A fax transmittal from Cunningham and Lindsay, Fridge Street, Unit 5, Hamilton, Ontario. Franca Real. Christopher Bacon. Like subject, Christopher Bacon. September 8, 2015. Dear Ms. Riel, I received your letter of September 3rd, 2015. My practice is restricted to criminal law and I am not acting for Mr. Bacon on the claim against your insured Grand River Hospital. What claim? I didn't make a claim. But I wasn't informed of this either. Oh, I guess he did because it was in the release, buried in there, right? Anyway, interesting. Mr. Gale did nothing to inform the court of my disability court. It's because of that anyway, again, I can't get anything. I can't even go to Law Society of Upper Canada to get anything done, eh? This here is very interesting because this was a result of St. John's Soup Kitchen nursing consult. When I came back to Kitchener, because of my issues with health care and I wasn't getting any help with anybody in the system, they set up a nurses center at St. John's Soup Kitchen, which we were patrons of at the time. And as a way to try and, they said it's community outreach and all that, so actually, they said it was community outreach and stuff like that, so Denise and I decided, let's take my medical records in there. We'll tell them what's going on with confusion, and is there any way they can at least give me an examination or help me to get the health care that I need. And we went in there, I think it was 1 or 2 meetings, brought them all the documented evidence from health care. We showed them the medical error that the harm. That was at the St. John's Clinic. She was liaising with the community, Kitchener Downtown Community Health Clinic, 44 Francis Street. She was liaising with them to try and get me set up with a doctor. And they called me and they're like, what do you want us to do? And I said, well, I need my health care, but I mean, if there's something wrong with somebody did something wrong as far as not reporting harm, then I need you to report it. And they said, no. Matter of fact, we're not going to see you, and if you come down here, we're going to have you charged. And I didn't even do anything. I didn't trespass. I didn't do anything. I was just seeking health care, and because of the consequences of, like I said, the way the WSIB has controlled the narrative, I have not received any health care of substance towards my disability at all. Matter of fact, I challenged WSIB to take out a list of every single treatment that was recommended and paid for through WSIB for that recommendation, and then you go through that list and you show how many of them were actually given. I was not granted treatment. They lied to us about physiotherapy. That physiotherapy, you got to go out and get it at a clinic. No, at that time, I'm not sure if it still is, but at that time you had up to 10 free physiotherapy appointments at any hospital. You just had to go make them. So anyway, we tried to go there, and instead, I didn't even go there. We just talked on the phone, and because I asked them to do the right thing, all of a sudden I'm getting a police officer calling me saying that, and actually that's what it was. She just hung up, and then next thing I know, a cop's calling me, saying I think it was Constable Friesen. So anyway, that's what it says from the note here, is that he called me and told me that I'm not to show up there, and if I show up there I'll be charged with trespassing kind of thing. And it's like, excuse me, I didn't even go there yet. I didn't even do anything. And we got it all recorded. And there was no belligerence there whatsoever. They're just afraid of the truth. Just like Wetlaver, just like Walkerton, just like Waterloo. WWW. Okay, so anyway. So this is based on that incident Waterloo Regional Police incident regarding complaint, Kitchener Downtown Community Health Clinic, 44 Francis Street, March 21st, 2014. Occurrence WA14061552. Approximately 1 p.m. Constable Friesen and Constable L on recording. Staff Sergeant Sharon Havel, duty officer, but may have to delegate to Sergeant Cal Roy, extension 4499. Spoke to Staff Sergeant Court, just came on shift. Thanks, CJ Bacon. So I sent that to him regarding looking into that for me. Because again, this is obstruction. Again, because of my disability and because they don't want to have the truth come out. This one here, okay, the video that we just received, or that I'm about to show you. Oh, it's almost an hour here. Sorry, we're getting there. It's almost there. I'm almost done. Please bear with me. It's really been rough. Anyway, trying to go over this. So this is just to show that they reviewed August 24th, 2015, Stephen Gale, so next court date, September 22nd. I have today reviewed the video that has been disclosed showing the front screening area of the courthouse. I agree that a large portion of the view is obstructed by a structural portion of the courthouse. I have sent further disclosure requests today requesting the following. Please advise if other views are available from other cameras, and also if there are camera views that capture the exterior of the courthouse. Please advise and provide copies of any videos that may exist from whichever police station Mr. Bacon was taken to prior to his show cause hearing. Please advise and provide copies of any videos that may exist from Grand River Hospital or Maplehurst. When you respond, please be specific in relation to each of these locations as to whether videos exist, ever existed, and no longer exist or are being provided. Hopefully this will provide some clarity on this ongoing disclosure request. Signed, Linda Elliott, Assistant Crown Attorney. That was August 24th. Here is a memorandum to Linda Elliott in response to that from Constable E. Welts, number 999, 26th of August 2015. In response to Crown Request C243, C300, and C304, I have enclosed a copy of the cell block video from Central Division on the offense date of 1st May 2015. So he enclosed a copy of the cell block video from Central Division. So it existed and he enclosed it. Since the last memo I submitted, I have learned that there is video at Grand River Hospital contrary to initial information I received. I requested the video in early 2015 and have not yet received it. In response to the video from Maplehurst, I do not have any video from them in relation to this matter. Mr. Bacon was held at Grand River Hospital under a mental health assessment, and I don't believe he attended Maplehurst until 2 or 3 days later. I do not have the exact information for the dates. I have called Maplehurst to see if there is video available, and I will have to call back on August 31st or September 1st, 2015 to determine the result. In regard to the video surveillance for the courthouse at 85 Frederick Street, Kitchener, I supplied to the Crown the video I was given by Constable Carroll, who works at the courthouse. I was advised this was the only video available of the incident. I request anything pertaining to the arrest. Constable Wells, signed 999. So that confirms that there was a video from the cell block. And if you want confirmation of that, when they take a video, when they do, so here's a copy of one of the discs, May 1st, and that's for video. And it's for 85 Frederick Street, which is the courthouse. Okay, what they do is they take the front of the disc, they take it out, and they make a photocopy of it. Like, for instance, this one here, additional disclosure on the case, is for this disc. Well, isn't that interesting? That's not the same disc. Waterloo Regional Police Service, and this is a Crown Attorney's Office, made a copy of the disc. So how do we know it's even the same? That's why they had more than one view. They only gave me one shitty copy of a view, because the one that they got here is not the one they used in court. And it's not the one that we saw in Gail's office either. The one that we saw in Gail's office and the one that we saw in court was exactly the same. This one wasn't. But as you can see, what they do is they show 85 Frederick Street, And it says duplicate copy for Crown disclosure. So that's their disc. Here's my disc. That's the disc that came with the file when I was made my own attorney, and which I am still my own attorney in this case, which is why I'm allowed to have this disc. But when we went to ask for, again, Gail told me he had this disc. He was asking me to come down and look at it, but I was saying I was having a problem because of what happened down there to be able to watch it again. Look what happened when I saw this first one. Anyway, when they came time to turn the file over, this disc was provided. This disc was not. When we went to court without a lawyer, they tried to say that this disc didn't even exist. I had to pull this out in court and hand it to the judge, to which they just dismissed it. They just ignored it again. So anyway, that's getting... So they just ignored it again. This is the infamous disc that I'll be playing at the end. It's only a few minutes long. Anyway, sorry. Yeah, I've been dreading this all day. Anyway, okay, so let's get to the last part real quick, and then I'm going to put it in the laptop and let you see it there because I have to play it on a computer for you to see it. Okay, so let's wrap this up. We asked for accessibility again and again and again. In writing, verbally, on YouTube, for crying out loud. Anyway, this is an email from me to mayor@waterloo.ca, Tim Anderson at waterloo.ca, Shamir Maida, Shane Turner, Alison Henshaw, Karen Redman, Regional Waterloo, Premier of Ontario, Attorney General of Ontario, Minister of Housing, Prime Minister of Canada, Bartis Chager, Parliament of Canada, info@atlasproperty.com, which is new property management, maintenance at atlasproperty.com, Ben at atlasproperty.com, and the most important one, Bryan Larkin at Waterloo Regional Police Services on.ca. September 25th, 2019 at 12:35 p.m. AOTA and human rights request. You guys could see that, right? AOTA and human rights request to the addressees, addendum to the previous email regarding requirements for contact. From email sent out as our response to Mr. Gerlach and Mr. Steve Ross regarding, we consider the case closed. Just so we are absolutely clear, we also seek to raise these very important issues. Now, I cut and paste this from the letter to them. That's why it's a different thing. I wasn't able to type at the time. We also seek to raise these very important issues with Waterloo City Council, the region, the province, and the courts with proper representation and ask for assistance to do so as persons with disabilities under the Accessibility for Ontarians with Disabilities Act, AOTA, and other human rights, including the UN Committee on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities requirements that Canada signed on to. We look forward to hearing from the Disability Coordinator for the City of Waterloo, the region of Waterloo, and also for the province of Ontario. The Accessibility Ontarians with Disabilities Act states that they should have an accessibility coordinator in order to facilitate. They're to have, at least it did before. I haven't read it lately, but all contact. This is the most important part. It's asterisks and in capital letters. All contact is requested to be coordinated through community liaison services for persons with disabilities due to the persistent nature of the repeated assaults and attempts to use my PTSD disability against me. Failure to do so is considered a direct violation of my civil and human rights, but especially those rights as a person with a disability. You must give 24 hours written notice for any and all contact, and more than one member of the tenant association must be present at all times. All contacts will be digitally recorded to protect the association members against further violations of civil, tenant, and human rights, and to protect against false accusation. Your bullying and abusive actions will not be tolerated. Govern yourselves accordingly. Thank you, Chris Bacon. Hope all is well with you and yours. Be well. May peace be with you and yours always. We are our brother's keeper. Pay it forward. So this is proof again that I have given written requests directly to Bryan Larkin of the Waterloo Regional Police, and yet they continue to ignore any kind of liaison. The only time it happened was with Tyler Valkanoff, who is the constable and officer detective who is researching, or who is investigating the coroner inquest or coroner business with what was happening at the St. Mary's General Hospital. Then this is it here. Please allow me to introduce myself. I went ahead and sent him another one. This is Waterloo Regional Police, Karen Redman, and the Mayor of Waterloo. September 25th at 1:49 p.m. Chief Larkin, the documents provided in the PDF file from this link does not reflect the many years of volunteering for the Kitchener Blues Festival, which I was able to return to this past year after unfortunately having to forego 2018 due to exacerbation of my PTSD due to another false accusation involving Waterloo Regional Police, local CCAC, and Grand River Hospital again. I was allowed to be assaulted, which is nothing compared to what was done to me in 2015 after the cover-up at the regional courthouse. All a matter of public record where your officer testified under oath to inadequate training with regard to the arrest, detainment of visibly disabled individuals. The result which almost cost me my life, and that was before what your people were allowed to do to me at the police station at Frederick Street, and then the region covered it all up. So that's the end of that paragraph. I'm going to show you what the link goes to, and I will provide a copy. And this is what was handed to the court. So what this entails is Sterling Mennonite Church. This is references provided. Sterling Mennonite Church, April 17, 2017. This was for the court. So I was held in court, held up in trial for over 2 years. And they had to redo it again because I was doing such a good job asking the right questions. So they postponed the trial for a while. And then also when the last part happened, they actually went behind my back and were soliciting other attorneys on my behalf because they were going to get somebody to wrap it up in a nice neat bow for them when they didn't have the ability to do that. But they do what they want anyway, right? To whom it may concern, this letter has confirmed that Christopher Bacon and Denise DeBell have been volunteering for the Saturday suppers at Sterling Community Supper Program for 3 years. So that's 2017, 3 years, that's since 2014. And my incident was 2015. So this is what I used to try and heal myself, is by giving back. And it was working until these assholes started up again. So again, this letter is to confirm that Christopher Bacon and Denise DeBell have been volunteering for the Saturday Suppers Sterling Community Supper Program for 3 years. The Saturday Suppers at Sterling program provides a hot meal and warm fellowship to approximately 180 guests with each Saturday during the colder months of the year, November through April. Chris and Denise have helped by regularly volunteering to provide musical entertainment. Generally, they provide musical entertainment about once a month. We very much appreciate their volunteer involvement in this program. If you have any other questions or require further information, please do not hesitate to contact me through the Sterling Ave Mennonite Church office. Lou Murray Gorvett, Volunteer Coordinator, Saturday Suppers at Sterling Ave Mennonite Church. That's Lou. She's a great person. This is a letter from Southside Shuffle. That's Port Credit Blues Festival. This is from 2016. Again, this is a year after my incident. Again, I try and give back because I have to. It's what I do to get past all this stuff. Feeling helpless and hopeless, you end up giving back. You can start feeling a little bit of appreciation for what you're able to bring to other people. So on behalf of the Southside Shuffle Board of Directors and our volunteer coordinator, Roy Hager, Jim Rye, Hugh DeCasse, and Susan Pereira. Sorry, I'm saying it wrong. Pereira. I would like to congratulate you on your recognition and reward for going above and beyond the Call of Duty Southside Shuffle Blues Crew volunteer. We value the time and effort you put into volunteering for the Shuffle, and thank you for your positive personal and can-do attitude. The festival would not be successful without your contribution. Please tell all your friends, family, coworkers, and fellow students about how much fun it is to volunteer for the Shuffle. It is, really, actually. Looking forward to seeing you back in 2017. Best wishes, Christine Kane, Festival Director. And this is a award that I got. Woohoo! Yeah, that was pretty cool. But this is the other one too. I got another one done a little bit more personalized. April 17, 2017. To whom it may concern. Reference Christopher Bacon. I'm the volunteer coordinator for the Port Credit Southside Shuffle Blues Festival. In this capacity, I recruit and work with some 200 volunteers during the weekend festival, assigning duties with specific activities throughout the weekend. Christopher Bacon has been a volunteer with our Blues Festival for the past 2 years. We have found Christopher to be very well informed in terms of music and what is required to assist our patrons during the weekend. Last year was a difficult year, and as much as we found ourselves with a shortage of volunteers, it became necessary to ask our volunteers to either sign up for additional shifts or work with us, transitioning them throughout the day to critical positions where we were short of volunteers. Christopher worked several activities and shifts throughout the weekend. He was very receptive to moving around the park, helping fill the void as required, as well as assisting the other volunteers. We found Christopher more than willing to go out of his way to assist patrons, providing directions, information in general, with a smile and a thank you. We look forward to Christopher joining us again for Southside Shuffle. Again at Southside Shuffle's Blues Festival as a returning volunteer with much experience in the needs of the festival. I have no hesitation in providing this reference and feel he would prove to be a valuable asset within any organization. Should additional information be required, please do not hesitate to contact me. Thank you. Roy Hager, Volunteer Coordinator. Then here, April 18, 2017, Ray of Hope. To whom it may concern, Chris Bacon has volunteered his time singing and playing music for our guests. He has been doing this here at the Ray of Hope Community Center for the past 3 years, again, since 2014. His music and singing have created a calming atmosphere. This is appreciated by many of our guests who have difficult lives with a lot of anxiety. Chris has spent time getting to know some of our guests and often plays music they have requested. This has formed some positive relationships with many of them. I hope this information is helpful in considering your decision. If more details are required, please call John Hill at. John Hill's gone now. And he provided a copy of this from their handout, Wednesday, April 19, 2017. And he highlighted, a man played on his guitar, which made the atmosphere warmer. This was an article that somebody wrote, Connie Chong. Okay, so, is that it? Yeah, that's it. So again, volunteer. As I said, I also as a volunteer for Kitchener Blues Fest. I've been doing that for several years. I was not able to do either Blues Fest or Southside Shuffle last year because we went and tried to do a safe place meeting for CCAC to try and arrange to get some of these things dealt with, and they pretended that there was a safe place there, and it was the same thing that they did at the courthouse. They said, come on down, you're safe, and then they assaulted me. I went down there, I started having a PTSD moment, which they're supposed to be trained for, and all of a sudden there was a cop behind me, and he's picking me up and manhandling me, and I found out later that they accused me of threatening them with a needle. When really what I was doing was I was going there and I was asking them to give me the needle. Euthanasia. I was seeking euthanasia. MAID. Medical assistance in dying. And it's really funny. In this free society where you respect and are inclusive, it's really funny, Mr. Trudeau. The last time you guys were elected, you brought in euthanasia, which included disabled people when we didn't even ask for it. Now you're making it easier again. Yeah, because guess what? When they write disabled on a form or on your file, it means you're disabled from any kind of protection from the law. Anyway, sorry, I'm going to finish this now. I've been dreading this, but sorry. I have to take you over here. I'll bring this with me so I can see what's going on. Okay, sorry. So I got to bring you over here, behind the drums. Sorry. Yeah, there you go. There's the drums. Big drum set. Anyway, the reason why I'm over here is because we're almost done. It's not that much longer. I am going to take this disc here and put it in here. Let me close it. Just enough time on the battery. this is the actual disc, and it's got its self player. You gotta go in here, you gotta go. Hit their player. Load up. Now it's interesting because this courthouse has multiple cameras around it. It's got won awards for the security and everything. You got exterior cameras and everything else. And they only came up with one little shitty angle for us, because this is a different angle from what they had in the courthouse, in the courtroom that they played for us. They had one that was closer to the floor. It's also a different one than what was played for us in Gail's office. But anyway, it's not that long. Let me see again. It's only going to be 5 minutes. May 1st, 2015, 12:39. 5 minutes of video. Oops, sorry. Hang on, I don't want to do that yet. Okay, there you go. So it's back on thing. So we're going to put it on. This is difficult for me. Let's make sure I got that where you can see it. Okay, so at the top it says 1009 or 1009 main entrance. 5/1/2015, starting at 12:40.00.13 p.m. And it says minus 4 minutes UTC. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to start this video. That's me walking in the door right here. Okay, and that coming around. There's a sign on the wall over here. You can basically see right there that says ask for disability coordinator. I was invited there by disability coordinator. You can see I'm at the front there, and he said, what are you doing here? I said, disability coordinator. He says, put stuff in there. I said, well, I took my stuff out of the pockets. That's me taking my stuff out of my pockets. And I'm going, I don't feel comfortable with putting it in there. Can you just frisk me? He's going, no, he's asking me, what am I doing there? I'm going to see somebody on the second floor. I'm pointing at the second floor. I'm going, I don't know. So I'm definitely not furtive, but here I'm going, can you just frisk me? As a disabled person, I kind of wave my hands a little bit too. It still doesn't give him any license to do what he did, because here he is. Now watch. He's leaning on. He's so threatened that he's leaning on the package, on the tray, gently, like just casually leaning on it. Okay, and it's at 12:41, so only 41 seconds since actually we'll see. So now this person's moving around. Watch. She moves around. They're already making a motion to come and to deal with me. Okay, watch. She comes around. She's going through. She's going to open up the door. So she goes behind me, opens up the door. This one comes to distract me. Now watch. He comes around. She's got me with my back turned, and I'm sitting there going, can you help me? And watch. He grabbed me right there. 12:40. Grabbed me, manhandled me. They're all taking me out the door. So that's 3 officers plus the one coming around now. That's 4. 4 officers. Now just wait. They took me out the door, and they grabbed me. I did not grab them. They grabbed me. He's holding my hands above my head right now, and I can't breathe. And this is where I probably tapped him on the head. This is where he takes me down, and you notice people are coming out. There's people coming and going. Witnesses everywhere. It was right on the front step of the police station, right in front of the doors. Now watch. How many officers? 1, 2. 2 more go running out, so that's 5 officers now. 6, 7, 8, 9. This man here, that's Mr. Gale. That's the man who ended up representing me. 10, 11, 12. At least 12 officers. Well, no, this guy came back, so that's 11 out there now. 11 officers out there based on the camera, and you see there's people here seeing what's going on. There's witnesses there. Oh, there's number 13, number 14, number 15, number 16, number 17, all for me. Little old me. And this is Mr. Gale, the man who ended up representing me, getting appointed to represent me. And you know who Mr. Gale is? He was instrumental in helping set up the disability court, from what we've been told. So everybody who's in this had a vested interest in keeping it in Waterloo Regional Courthouse, when the first thing that should have happened was I should have had a venue changed. And the whole reason why they did that is because it's for the Crown to control the situation. That's tough to watch. But again, I want to show you something. I need the see, I can't handle that.
Hey, put this down in a minute. Show you what's going on. 12:41:39 is when they attacked me. 12:41:39. When they attacked me. All I did was ask for help. All I did was ask for help. They don't help anybody with themselves. Almost done. I just want to show you how long it took. Hang on. I'm okay. Just relax. I'm okay. You're not safe. You're not safe anywhere. Okay, so it starts at 12:40. So within a minute and 39 seconds is when they got me. A minute and 39 seconds. Again, I'm just walking in. It's not even good enough to see. I wish I could put the whole video on there instead of like this. And again, you see, so he's distracted. This is the guy. He's a trainee. This is his training officer right here. That's his training officer. This is a trainee. So again, I'm reaching in my pocket. I'm pulling out my stuff to show my pockets are empty. He's going, "What are you doing there?" I'm like, "I'm going to see I don't know, somebody on the second floor, disability coordinator." I don't know. Who do you call him? I don't know. I'm raising my, again, all I'm asking you to do is, sir, why can't you just frisk me? I just put my hands out and said, "Here's my stuff." My stuff is in my hands. I got 2 handfuls of my cards in my wallet and stuff like that. 1 in each hand. 12:41:05. So again, you watch. Okay, now you see how he's got it sitting down. He's not even upset or anything, not threatened or anything. They're all sitting there going, "What's going on?" Even to the point where he pulls it up and he leans on it. But you see they're going. They've already got it in motion that they're going to get rid of me. I'm sitting there going, "What's going on? Like what?" I went to talk to her to say, "Excuse me, can you help me?" And all of a sudden grabbed it right there. Grabbed it. Within a minute and 39 seconds. A minute and 39 seconds. It took for them to sit there and go, assault me. Had my arms above my head. I couldn't breathe. I'm sitting there, let me go. The only reason I was able to breathe again is because all those officers were keep doing it again. I asked the police cannot keep doing this to me. They're supposed to help. I'm sorry, I gotta go. They call me a martyr of Marshall Street. I'm just trying to get to the follow the fucking law. But irregardless, they don't have a right to do this. They are doing it deliberately. They do it. They bring the police like that. That's what it means for me. And they keep doing it over and over. I am asking you guys, somebody, to please stop them from doing this. I'm standing right here. I am not letting him do this to me again. Shoot me, you motherfucker. Finish the goddamn fucking job, you lying sack of shit. And Queen Elizabeth, you're the most successful terrorist in the world. It is time for colonialism to go. This is the crown protecting the crown. The crown is the only thing that needs to go. Go find a fucking job, you cunt. I'm gonna have to cut that last part.